name is Lawryn Chen. I'm 19 and I'm just trying to get a head start on my finals.
Yes, I love it. So you go to UCSD.
Yes.
You are what major again?
Environmental policy.
Environmental policy. What do you
Yes.
want to do with that?
I would love to get involved with being able to make an impact in like climate change and then also just like preserving and like conserving our environment. And I know already that there's like a lot of climate scientists doing a lot of research, and I respect that. I don't think I could personally do that. It's a that's like a I guess like it's a line of work that I can't really envision myself in.
Okay.
And then but I would still like to make an impact in that field by being able to come more from like the city planning side of it, and then like state government or like city government.
Yeah.
And then being able to actually like implement policies that would help with
Yeah.
like more green infrastructure and stuff like that.
Amazing. You said you have a minor as well?
I'm thinking of planning, or I'm thinking of adding a minor in urban studies and planning.
Okay.
Because I think that would be really helpful in like it's just like a good complement.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially for what you want to do. Yeah. Okay. So obviously you're in final season. You go to UCSD, a very difficult school. Outside of school or like your job or whatever it is, what do you feel like is an activity that you really enjoy doing?
I really enjoy reading. I've been trying to get more into reading, mostly by going back to like romance books or anything that's like of like like things that aren't related to the like works we have to read for school. Watching YouTube has been a great outlet, just keeping up with like everything that's happening outside of academics. And then but I feel like in other aspects sometimes I struggle with finding things that are like really pique my interest, because I didn't have a lot of time to explore my own self-interest in like I guess throughout my childhood, because I had a lot of time taken up by sports.
Oh, okay. What sports?
I played softball.
Nice.
And that took a significant amount of my time.
Oh my goodness. Do you still play, or like no, obviously not at UCSD, but like
no, I don't play anymore, but I played from when I was 7 to 18.
Wow.
So a large chunk of my life.
That's your whole life.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Was it a sport that you loved and did, or was it like your parents pushed it on you, or?
My dad actually was the one that introduced it to me because he played baseball when he was younger.
Nice.
Yeah, and I really enjoyed it, but I think I had a lot of character development that came with it because of just the demand that sports have for like on individuals. And then I just feel like I had a lot to learn from that. Yeah.
You got me interested in the romance books because I'm a heavy romance reader and nothing else. What are you currently reading, or like your newest obsession in terms of romance novels or any kind of novel in that?
I've been really interested in the academia books, kind of.
Oh.
Like anything Ali Hazelwood.
Oh, I've never heard of her.
I really like her writing style,
Okay.
and then she focuses mostly on like the female perspective in academia, because I think she was like in academia herself, and it was just like such an interesting perspective. And I feel like it was also one of the reasons why I couldn't find myself like being like in that line of work. But yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. All right. Okay, what do you feel like is a talent that you have that like almost no one knows about? Or like it could be a skill.
I feel like it's kind of basic almost, but not a lot of people cultivate it, I guess. Just being able to listen to people without really like any judgment. Because I'm a big believer of like having like an open mind to anything really, because it's like everybody's coming from a different position, and so there's not really anything that you can't impose your own views, I guess, on the situation that somebody else is going through. And so just hearing the whole narrative and being able to apply like things that I've experienced in my own life to maybe like help give advice or anything would be like the most helpful. But just being open-minded.
I think it's like you said, it's not like I can fly or something.
Yeah.
But like it is a skill that a lot of people don't have. And to have it is really it's amazing, not only for like your well-being, but also it's nice to be around someone like you, because there really aren't that much listeners in the world. Everybody loves TF these days.
Yeah.
Okay. So again, you've gone into UCSD, you're studying something wonderful, you have wonderful plans for the future. In that time, you've played softball basically your entire life. During that whole time, what do you feel like is an accomplishment or like project, extracurricular activity that you're really, really proud of? And what like tips would you give someone doing something similar or wanting to do something similar?
I don't think it's necessarily like extracurricular or anything like that, but I think just getting to UCSD was probably something that I was like, it is something I'm really proud of accomplishing, because I'm an older sister, and I don't have any cousins, so it's just like I was kind of the first one to go to college from like our generation, I guess. And I'm also like a first generation college student, so I kind of had to navigate the college admissions process myself, at least with like the like personal insight questions or anything like that. And I'm just really proud that I was able to like be self-driven in that aspect, because my parents never really like explicitly had any like encouraged me to go to college or anything, because they could see that that was something I wanted for myself. And then I think them just seeing that I was self-driven was enabled me to be more confident in myself and try to get where I am today. Yeah.
That's so nice that you didn't have, parents that were like, you have to do this, you have to do that. Like they saw you, they saw what you were capable of, and they just let you live your life. Very lucky for that.
Yeah.
So. Okay. So in your own definition of this, what does education mean to you?
I think education is something that, of course, it's not necessary for everybody, but it's definitely a very helpful resource. And it's one of those things that systematically it's a little bit more difficult for some groups to reach. And especially through stereotypes and other things like that, it's sometimes inaccessible because of just like finances or anything. And I feel like it's a very important resource to getting ahead in the future, and just being able to have the freedom to do what you want to accomplish with your life.
Yeah. So what is a topic or subject that you feel like should be taught in schools that isn't?
Well, this is going to really apply to my major. But recently UCSD actually implemented the climate change or climate studies requirement for like the incoming classes starting from this year, I think. So it's one of the GE requirements for the university, I believe.
All the colleges?
I think so, yeah.
Wow.
And I am really excited about that because I feel like it's really, in some places it's really stigmatized and sometimes not even like thought to be a major problem. And I just think that with educating people on the effects of climate change, it's really important, because it's like most people, even if they know about it, they feel so far detached from it. So it's just like you don't feel the need to do anything yourself. But if you can see the bigger picture and then like the impacts it would have on the world, like it's hard to continue living in a world that we're living in and then like simultaneously killing it, because it's just like for future generations it's just going to make the work so much harder.
But I feel like a question I want to ask, what do you feel like is something that people can start doing, either a small step, a big feat, in terms of helping climate change?
I feel like it's really difficult for individuals to impact like the greater effects of climate change, especially since most of it is like fossil fuel emissions, which is, like big corporations. And it's like, it's really hard for individuals themselves to make that impact. But one thing that I was doing in high school was volunteering for an organization. It's Amigos de los Rios. And they helped like during the volunteer events, you help with implementing like more green infrastructure in schools or just like parks, just some things in like the surrounding areas. And I think those small changes, if done like on a wider scale, it's really helpful in like preserving like groundwater or like just basic resources that we use and take for granted.
Yeah. That's amazing. Okay, well, tell me about someone who's left an impact on you and why.
I would probably have to say my dad. He was really present during my childhood, and as I mentioned, he was the one that introduced me to softball, and he was the one that really instilled resilience and like hard work, just like my overall like work ethic into me, and really shaped me into the person who I am today, and made me value hard work and then just like putting in effort. And if you put in enough effort, eventually you will be able to see results, even if it's in some ways that you might not have expected before. But just being able to like not take the little things for granted, I think.
We love dads. Well, I feel like we've talked a lot about this, but I obviously want you to elaborate if you feel, inclined to do so. What is there a cause or social issue that you're passionate about, and why is it important to you? Obviously, I know what it is, but please continue.
Climate change is really important to me because at first when I learned about it in my biology class, I felt so small. I felt like, oh my gosh, it's such a big issue, and it's so prevalent in our world today, and just continuing on as we like just into the future, And something that really made me feel a little bit better was volunteering with that organization to help, like actually, it helped me feel like I could actually make a physical impact, just me. And then it also inspired me to pursue environmental systems, environmental policy here at UC San Diego, because it's something that if I want to be able to make a change, I just want to do something meaningful,
Yeah. Do you you mentioned that so are you like in a club or something, or
not at the moment.
Okay.
But I advocate for it with my family, friends, and just like
okay, perfect. You did mention that you used to work with an organization. In terms of like advice to give someone to make a positive impact, what would you give them? Like what advice would you give them?
I think definitely looking into like community resources for volunteering events or anything like that would be really helpful. One thing that I really emphasize for like individuals though is like kind of more introspective, because it's like you need to be able to help yourself and feel like full and like whole as a person in order to be able to commit to something. So I am really a big advocate of like trying to make sure like you're asking for help if you need it, because whether it be like something like with academics, or if you're struggling with something like mentally, then it's like having that good foundation is really important in doing things outside of yourself.
Yes. Yeah. No, I love that you said that, because I feel like looking inward is the best thing to help the outside. Yeah. Okay. So again, you can be as detailed or as vague with this one as you want. But what do you feel like is a challenge that you've had to work through, and how do you feel like it shaped you to who you are today?
I feel like one of the biggest challenges I had to face was kind of because of my experiences with sports. So with softball, there's, well, actually just sports in general, there's a really high pressure to perform at like a high level. And so that, especially if you start sports when you're young. So for me, like when I was 7, of course, it's something that you become like passionate about, but then it's sometimes hard to differentiate your own self-worth and then your athletic performance. So once those two things kind of become like intertwined, it's kind of isolating in a way, because in team sports at least, it's like all of my teammates are also going through this, but you don't see that internal struggle, And it's like, well, if they're all doing this, I should be able to do this too. But at least for me, I felt a lot of anxiety and then like pressure, and it was kind of crushing a little bit. But yeah, I feel like mental health in athletes is really, really important, which is why I talk with like previous high school teammates.
Oh, wow.
Especially if they're like younger, because I realize that just sharing my experiences makes people feel less isolated, because they're like, oh, yes, I'm validated in my experience, and like I'm not the only one going through this. And it's just like, it's such a helpful resource, just being able to communicate with people.
I'm really glad that you addressed that. Okay, so to end on a fun note, you are obviously in a setting that is not normal for a normal like scholarship interview, what have you. There's bright lights shining on you. It's really hot in here sometimes, but the chairs are fun. So.
Yes, they are. They are really comfortable too.
They're really comfy. So in terms of like a standard application where you have to submit your GPA, your essays, you have a prompt and you have to run with it. What do you feel like usually in terms of yourself gets left out of a standard application?
I feel like with writing, sometimes it's hard to really portray like your emotions. And so like if you're writing a sentence, they won't see like how like they can't really tell your tone. It's like the same thing with texting, where it's like it's really hard to kind of know how a person said something. Same thing with writing. It's really hard to fully put your emotions on the page. Like you have to be really like a really talented writer to do that. I struggle with that most definitely.
Don't we all?
So I think that's definitely one of the setbacks of like the standard application processes.
Do you have any final thoughts? Anything you want to share? Concerns?
I think it's really interesting that the mental health in athletes is like one of the first times that you've heard of that, because I think in just these past couple years, it's been more of like, there's been more of a movement towards it. And I just feel like it's a really important thing for people to understand, because there was like a time in my life where I felt like I wanted to quit because the stress was just like so much. And I think it's really like stigmatized because most people don't perceive it, I guess, in that way, at least like sports as a whole.
Exactly.
So I feel like that's a really important thing for people to remember.
Hey YouTube, if you enjoyed this person's story, don't forget to subscribe below to hear more from our inspiring youth. If you want to apply for our Storyteller Scholarship or get more involved in our organization, click the link below to apply. Thanks for watching!